What up? What up? What it do? What it do? We live. Leather Helmets presents back for another episode. Got your boy Jim Jones, man, here holding it down. I'm on my dolo move tonight. We keeping AC in our prayers. This family's going through a tough time right now. He lost a loved one, so you know, we got him on our minds, our hearts. And we appreciate you, bro. Hopefully, everything's all well down there, man, as well as it can be at least. But here we are, man. Episode 11, dined out. I'm gonna give people some time to get in here. I'm gonna talk a little bit. I want to be a little goofy this episode. I know last couple of weeks things have been a little heavy. We got a little serious last night. Last week bashing EA about their garbage game. But let's have a little fun this week. As you see the title of the episode, we talk about it a lot. What's going on, Drex, man? Appreciate you sliding through, always supporting. We talk about it a lot in the chat. And we'll talk about it a little bit during the episode. What do you do? I mean, a lot of these leagues have rules. If a rule is broken on you, what do you do? Do you take it on the chin and you man up and ball out, or you in somebody's DM letting the commissioner know what's going on? That's the question. Like I said, JB AC is dealing. He's at a family. He lost a family member, so he had a funeral. So, we got our he's on our hearts, on our minds during this broadcast. So we're gonna cheer up to him. Salute the AC. And he'd want us to have a good show today. And like I said, this episode 11, dimed out. A lot to talk about today, man. But I'm gonna get into a little bit of NFL talk. Recap week 4 of the NFL. A lot of good games happened last week. They kicked off the Thursday night game. Unfortunately, Tua took another big hit 4 days after. He definitely had a concussion that Sunday game against Buffalo. Took that big hit. It was real scary. Had to be taken off the field. That was ugly. And NFL got some answering to do for that one. And then the Bengals were able to put together a victory and come out with the victory there. But the rest of the games, then it kicked off Sunday morning where Minnesota cost me a couple of hours because they couldn't blow out, Andy Dalton-led Saints. So I was a little tight about that. My Cowboys looked good against the Redskins. The Jaguars jumped out early on the Eagles. Like, it was just a crazy Sunday of football. I enjoyed it. I don't know if you guys had any games that, you thought were worthy of, being talked about. I know Drex wants to talk about his boys, even though they lost. They were competitive, and the Eagles were, hot as fish grease. So to see them get up early, give that lead up, and then hang around and have a chance to win was impressive for those guys as well. And then you saw Arizona continue to expose Baker Mayfield as a fraud. The guy's just not a good QB. Everywhere he goes, the teams suffer on the outside. Wide receivers, any position group, the wide receivers, the tight ends. You see David Njoku over there with Brissett as the quarterback, looking like a world beater. Dre, the Ravens, another questionable fourth down attempt on the goal line. 4th and 1. You take the 3. Your defense has been playing well all day, and it's like what are you doing in this? Do you take the 3 or do you go for it? They went for it and turned the ball over. So another game that was crazy that I thought was going to be a blowout was the Green Bay Packers versus the New England Patriots, and then I thought it was going to be even more of a blowout when the backup had to come in to Hoyer got hurt, so the guy Zappa came in, and I'm like, oh, they're going to be a boat race out here, but they barely won in OT by 3. But yeah, overall some good football played. New York gave Pittsburgh a loss, and Pittsburgh looking like they're on their way to their first losing season, which is a shame because our guy Mike Tomlin has yet to have a losing season as a head coach. But I just don't think they have enough. It seems like they're going to be battling, they're going to be in every game just because they have pride. But I really don't. I don't see them being able to keep up throughout the entire year, especially with the amount of the injuries continue to pile up. And then we fast forward to last night's game. We had our first Leather Helmets TV broadcast on primetime, and it just happens to be on a Thursday night primetime game, which might have been the worst game I've ever watched in my life. Denver versus Indianapolis, the score wound up being 12-9, no touchdown scored, and it was just poor. Russ looks like he's struggling out there in Denver. Maybe it's the altitude. Maybe he hasn't got used to the altitude out there, but he's looking very average. What do you guys think, man? I don't know, man. It was a struggle for the Broncos against a team that doesn't really look that great in the Indianapolis Colts, but they were able to get that victory. The system, they had the players though, so is it the play calling? Do they like that 4th and 1 again? You got to hand it off there, or you got to call something better than what you call. But then the play that was called, a guy did. Hamler became open, So I don't know what's going on out there. So, and I think Russ had a great relationship, a great rapport with Tyler Lockett. I don't know if he has that rapport with any receivers on Denver at the moment, like he had with that guy. So, shout out to Tyler Lockett, Kansas State Wildcat. So, a couple good games on the docket this week. Chicago, Minnesota should be a good one. Miami, the Jets. Who would have thought that would have been, a pretty good game? You got San Fran and Dallas, San Fran and Carolina. Sorry, both teams. I think San Fran hasn't given up 20 points yet in the season, and this season, along with the Cowboys, the only other team that hasn't allowed more than 20 points in a game. So you got San Fran, Carolina, both great defenses. Dallas and the Rams. Philly and Arizona. Philly travels out to Arizona, and then you got Cincy and Baltimore as the primetime game. So I'm looking forward to that game. That should be a real good one. But NFL, man, it's here. We like it. We love it. We're playing fantasy. We're gambling away our money. So having fun with it. But we talked about Dimed Out being the title of the episode. This show is all about Leather Helmets, all about the Leather Helmets League. And we talk about rules, and we talk about, like, one of the things that constantly come up is like fair play. What's outside the lines, what's in the lines. Me and Dre, we go at each other all the time. It's never any malice. I just like to talk trash. He likes to talk trash, but he's also like a super troll. So, he can get under people's skin. One of the things that happened during our game is there's a glitch that happens in Madden that sometimes you can't press a button. Usually the player would notify the other player, hey, I can't press anything. I can't move. I can't do this or whatever. And you get to delay a game, you decline it, and then right after that play, for some reason, now both users can now move and select plays and stuff like that. That happened in a game. I didn't message him. Granted, I shoot him some bail there. I didn't message him and tell him that I couldn't move, but we were literally sitting on the field for almost 10, 12 seconds of no movement. I would have thought, common sense would tell you, hey, who's going to sit there and stare at I didn't make a single audible or anything like that. So he accepted the penalty. There's a little bit of back and forth in the chat. It had no outcome. It didn't determine anything in the game. It was literally a meaningless play, but it brought that up. It brought up the conversation, like, what is fair play? As the person who is in control of accepting or declining the penalty, you don't really have to. It more so comes down to whether you want to be a good sport about it, or, hey, I'm trying to win the game. I think either way, you're trying to win the game, but on one side, it's like, all right, there's really nothing that user could have did about that. So that's when we talk about in fair play. And then one of the other things that always comes up is, hey, this person can't stop the run, or this person can't stop this play. Why should I stop running it? Or, the game, like, as long as it's not, from my perspective, as long as it's not an exploitation of the AI or anything like that, I think it's all fair play. We have some rules that are in play to kind of like get rid of the exploitations. But I'll be looking at the rule book sometimes and I'm like, it's just a lot, but then I'll go into a league where there really is a lot of rules. And I'm like, damn, we don't really have a lot of rules that take away from the user experience. And I'm all about that, like being able to control the game and play how you want to play. And, I like to be sideline to sideline with the linebacker or whatever player I'm using. I want to make all the plays. I want to make the tackle. I want to cover. I want to do all that stuff. Some of the leagues take that completely out of your hands, and it's like, well, I might as well play the computer at that point. So fair play is I think it's subjective. I think it comes down to, like, everybody's trying to win. So if it's not helping me win, it's not fair play. I feel like that's what when I go into these leagues and I'm looking at some of these, commissioners, and I'm like, well, he kind of stinks. So maybe that's why all these rules are in there. And, we go back and forth. And I got into it with Gons because, he got his little victory by 1 point. And he's like, oh, you got a problem with it. Just make another rule to do so something to the tune of that. Make another rule because that's what you do. I'm like, bro, I'm the one that is champion for less rules, or I'm usually on the side of trying to figure out the complaint before we jump to a conclusion or whatever the case may be. And that's one of the, when I talk about Dimed Out, he's one of the leading candidates for reported infractions, which is cool because that's the only way we can fix things. That's the only way things get exposed or things get taken care of is if you report it. Like Dre said in the chat, he'd rather just take it on the chin and ball. This is a person who doesn't want any rules, though, so you can't really go by what he's talking about. So I don't really take that for anything other than Dre being Dre. But I think a lot of people in these leagues want to just play the game, and sometimes the rules do get in the way of the actual gameplay itself. But when I see a player who is always complaining about, oh, this guy ran cover 3 on me all game, or this, that, and the third, then do that to kind of get the win, because it is what it, but on the flip side, playing devil's advocate, as the person who is getting the same coverage ran on you, why don't you make an adjustment to beat that same coverage, especially if you know it's coming? And so that's the double-sided game of it. But sometimes, even with that, even if, hey, you're in cover 3 and I try to attack the seams, Madden doesn't allow that. Madden becomes Madden sometimes, and then some of these guys get super springy and super bouncy. So yeah, I think fair play, like I said, is subjective, and that leads us right to like our next topic. You see all these leagues, and they in their taglines for their league or in their descriptions of their league, they're like real sim football, and I'm like, well, real is something that is impossible because it's a video game, so real is out of the question. So it can't be real, and then it's like sim. But what is sim football? I think letting the computer work for you, because you're playing on all Madden in most cases. So letting the computer do it for you isn't really, you're not really playing the game at that point. You might as well, you guys both just, keep the controllers in the middle. When you select the side, when you're on Madden, you got the away team, and you go take the controller to the left or the right. You might as well leave the controllers in the middle and just let you guys just watch the computers play. If you don't want guys to be able to move, you can't. Oh, you have to stay in your zone. You have to do this. Well, a lot of things about football is instinctual. Like if I feel the seam route or if I feel the post coming behind me, and I bail out of my zone, I leave a huge hole. I leave a huge hole right there. So if you know I'm bailing out of my zone, send somebody right behind me in that zone and feel that, because you know I'm going to be running with the post. Oh, there's a slant right underneath it, or you send the slant as that window dressing for me to jump the slant. And now down the post is open behind me. There's ways to scheme and beat. Um, that's what I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm just going off crazy because I'm really passionate about this, because like I'm playing in a few different leagues and I'm trying things out because I want to. One of the things I do like about a lot of these leagues where it's like no switch or anything like that is it gives me the opportunity to get better at playing like user coverage, and I like playing user coverage because I think it's back this year. You can get up in the receiver's face, you can bump them. You know, I can actually keep up with the guys a little bit on the outside playing the cover side. That's the thing I like about it the most, because I'll just play man to man and just lock up on the outside myself and take away the best player. Also, by the way, Smitty and Ray are playing a very, very good game, 10-9 in the fourth quarter. Both of these guys need to win. They're battling for a playoff spot. So yeah, check that out too. I'm going triple screen here. I got the game on over here. I got my stats up over here. So it's a good time in Leather Helmets. Week 18 is very, very interesting. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But do you guys think sim football is a possibility or it's real in Madden? I don't think it's real. I don't think it's possible. I think all you can do is try to make the game as fun as possible while eliminating some exploitations and glitches. I don't think you could be able to eliminate everything. I think you'll have to be able to ball. You have to be able to stop something. You have to, if you can't stop the stretch, you're going to get beat. That was something I struggled with last cycle. It wasn't that the stretch was being abused. I'll complain about it, but it's up to you to stop it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you can't stop the outside run, and most of the time you come screaming around the corner to make the tackle, when the guy cuts up the field and you run right by him, that's a misuser tackle. I'm not talking about Dre. I'm not talking about like the mode. I'm not talking about sim mode versus comp mode. I'm talking about like the actual idea that you're playing what you're playing on the game will mimic or be exactly like what you see on Sunday, and you do that by taking away certain abilities and stuff you take. Like some games, some leagues you don't even play with abilities on. I'm like, you might what'd you buy the game for? You know what I'm saying? Like you might as well go back and play 18 was the last time the game didn't have abilities in it. And it's sometimes again it's just a lot. As you do so much to try to take away users' ability to be great. We have our X factor limit in our league, and that's just to keep the amount of wild Madden stuff from happening by having too many stars on the field. But again, like Undisputed just said, you cannot replicate what happens on Sundays on a video game, because you're going to get animations, you're going to get quirky, wacky things that happen that you can't do anything about. And I think you should just do what you can to make the game as enjoyable as possible, especially this year with the game being, hella buggy. It's not really much you can do about the game being bad, because the game not very much you can do about to make the game good, because the game is just bad. And that makes sense, so. But yeah, I don't think sim football is real. I think it's all just a way to say, hey, I want a lot of rules. And again, we're always looking at things to change rules. Like Les brought up the play action thing, or canceling the play action. You can't take that out, because the players still react to a play action even when it's not a play action. So it's literally a glitch. So that's the type of stuff we try to like keep out of the game. And another thing that I try to keep out of the game is, one of my favorite rules that we have is, if you control a blitzing player, you have to blitz. And I was seeing a lot of people watching streams, and they'll control the blitzer and they'll change it. They'll change the coverage, but still stay on it, stay on the guy. No, you can't. You can't control that player just because you change the coverage to a flats or hook zone. You can't control that player anymore. Because he is originally a blitzer. If you want to control the player sitting in hook flat, you pick a play that has the player dropping back in the hook flats. Hook zone or flats or whatever the coverage is. Like you can't. And I call it window dressing or cooking the books because you want the play art is now back, so you want to look like you're mixing your play up by picking a zone blitz, but then you change the zone to cover 3. That's cover 3, man. So, what I mean? That's the type of stuff that we have rules for. The rules aren't meant to handicap you. The rules are to make the playing field as level as possible and then allow the users to then shine and do what they got to do, to win the game. So that's what it is, man. This next topic is what we talked about in that week 18 game. So I was distracted a little bit. I saw Smitty missed the post there. But we talk about playoffs. You got a lot of good teams vying for a playoff spot, and every single position is locked up except for the 1 seed in both conferences, because Messi locked up the 1 seed over in AFC, and just a couple hours ago, your boy Snow locked up the 1 seed in NFC. So congratulations to both of those guys. Salute to you, gentlemen, for locking down those positions. Both guys. Messi's played well coast to coast. Snow started off strong, had a little bit of a losing streak, and now he's finished off strong heading into the playoffs. So congratulations to both of those guys. Frost gave him everything he can handle to lock up that spot, and he was able to get it done. And then right behind him, man, let's stay on the AFC side of things. You got the Chiefs at 1, the Bills at, well, that's going to be interesting. Oh, yeah, so the Bills still have the number 2 spot. So you got the Bills at 2, Bengals at 3. Smitty's holding down that 4th spot currently, and he's leading with 5 minutes left in the 4th quarter. So the Browns have the 4th spot. Then you got Dre's Titans sitting there at 5. Currently, the Steelers are there. I don't know what's going to happen with the loss, but a bunch of teams 2 teams behind him have 7 wins. So he could still get in with the loss, depending on how things shake up. The Jaguars play the Titans. So a lot of these teams play each other to, kind of determine and shake things up here a little bit. You got for playoff. So for playoff teams on that side, on the AFC side of things, like I said, Browns are playing the Steelers currently. Titans play the Jaguars. Patriots and Bills. Patriots have an outside shot at getting in. So that could be an interesting one. Chargers, Broncos play. Both of these teams are, long shots for getting in the playoffs, but they're right there. But that's pretty much it for the AFC. The Bengals play the Ravens, but that will be Lou is out of town. So, the Bengals are pretty much a lock for the playoffs because they will get that win. Over here in the NFC side of things, like I said, the Vikings just clinched that number 1 spot with the Falcons' loss. Falcons are on a crazy losing streak, losing a couple games in a row. They're sitting at the 3rd spot. They actually dropped. They will drop down. They're at the 2nd spot at 11-5. Cardinals at 10-6 are locked because they get a forced win this final game of the season due to AC being out. Commanders, Cowboys 4-5. We play each other, so that's going to be interesting. And then 6 and 7 are Eagles, Giants. And they play each other. So the entire NFC East is currently in the playoffs. Think about that. So all 10-6 sitting right there. But again, that's going to shake up a little bit with at least 2 guys losing because we all play each other. Commanders play the Cowboys, Eagles play the Giants. Tune in. Me and Cooley will be playing later tonight. I'm not sure if BK caught up with Gons because he might have his track shoes on. You know how he does. And Buccaneers got a big win, so they're sitting at 9-7. The Lions, who have been on a losing streak as well, they're sitting at 9-7. So those two teams are the teams that are on the bubble as far as getting into the playoffs, and they're gonna be glued to the games to see who loses and makes room for them to get in over in that NFC. So again, crazy week 18. This is probably the most interesting week 18 we've had in leather helmets. You know, I'd like to call some of them games tomorrow. If anybody wants to, any of those playoff teams, especially the Titans Jags game, I would love to call that game. So you guys let me know if you guys are playing at a reasonable time, not too early, because I'm not getting up to call a game. But you know, if you guys want to play later on in the afternoon or maybe in the evening, I know both of you guys work nights. I'm not sure what your schedule looks like tomorrow, but I'd love to call that game because that would be very fun. And it's a lot of trash being talked between the two users. And I like to call that Eagles Giants game. That's another game I like to call just because I don't want either one of them to win. If they tied, I'd be happy. So, yeah, that's, I mean, a lot of leather helmets talk. You know, I'm as we're winding down, getting ready for the playoffs. I am really worried about the off season. Like I said, I'm seeing a lot of leagues fall apart due to the fact that, you know, the game is glitching out in the off season. So I hope we survive it. I hope the update drops because they said the middle of October, and I'm thinking by the time the playoffs end, we could be in the teens when it comes to days, maybe even. I think we should. It takes us about a week to probably get through a playoff, an entire playoff. So it could be, you know, somewhere around the 15th or 15th to 18th of the month. Hopefully, we'll see some update come through that will fix a lot of the issues that we're having within the franchise. But you got a lot of heavy hitters that didn't make the playoffs. Like I said, undisputed on the bubble. You got Drex not in the playoffs. You got Lou not in the playoffs. AC's not in the playoffs. A lot of these guys, you know, didn't make the playoffs this year. And some of them in spectacular fashion. I don't really know if we'll see any improvement from these guys because, you know, he hasn't had a lot of time to lab it up. So he may not get any better. His picks for, you know, breakout players of the year were Carl and his Chargers, who are 8-8. DC and his Dolphins. They've looked like world beaters, and then they've looked like, you know, doormats. So, you know, I don't know what's going on there. I picked the Saints as my breakout player. Didn't look too great. And I picked Rich as my other breakout player with the Jets. And he's come on at the end of the year. So I'm anxious to see what he does in the draft and how that goes. And I was looking through the scouting, and it's a lot of good players. And you know, I was talking to Drex off mic, and I don't know, man. It's the way I will go in this draft will probably surprise a lot of people. And there's a lot of talent in this draft. So, yeah, I'm telling you, man. Like, if you guys don't think the draft is good this year, you're not looking in the right places. There's a lot of good talent out there. I don't like this kind of talk because then it puts eyes on things, but you know, it is what it is. That's what I'm here. I'm here to do a show, and that's what it's about. Undisputed says I'm in one of those guys in NFC East. I'm in one of the guys in the NFC is out if they lose because I have the most NFC win. So yeah, so it goes by, yeah, you would have a better conference record, so you would be in there over if any of us lose. So, and we'll have the same amount of wins and losses. So you would jump somebody. And like I said, either way, somebody's got to lose. So it looks like you're in the playoffs. So congratulations on that. And yeah, Drex, man, the draft is going to be fun. You got some players with a lot of picks. I gave away some picks this draft. So I think I only have a first and a third, maybe a fourth and a fifth as well. But I gave away my second round pick. The draft is going to be fun. And I think the cycle can be fun. And Titans Jags just started, so that'll be fun. You know, checking those guys out, seeing what's going on, listening to the trash talk, and It looks like Smitty's gonna pull this one out. He's up 17-9 with under 2 minutes left. Yeah, I know you got hella picks. You guys fleeced the Denver Broncos, and then your buddy Jacob went from being the number one guy in the power rankings to just a bottom half player. So this has been an interesting season. A lot of win streaks, a lot of losing streaks, and it's going to set up for interesting playoffs. I'll be right there calling games. Drex in the booth, Smitty in the booth. It don't matter. It's going to be fun. You did say he stinks. He said he's talking about Jacob. He said Jacob stinks. You did call that, and he does. I'd have to agree. He let Messi just curb stomp him last night. So I don't know if he's given up or whatever, but it's not happening for him. I'm going to talk about our fantasy football league. That is Leather Helmets, and my boy's not here this week, but he was undefeated. He was blowing the doors off everybody. And you know what I had to do? I had to go in there and I had to let them know what it is, man. Oh, coming in 0-3, I had to go in there and bottle them up and get them up out of here, man. Made some moves, made some changes around the roster, had some players out, had a bunch of injuries, and I smacked him up, man. 132-71. His team did not show up for that battle, and that's what I do, man. I beat and Messi always talks about it, man. I beat the people I'm not supposed to beat, and then I lose to the people I am supposed to beat. So that rings true here in fantasy football as well. So let's look at some of the other games here from last week. Dre got absolutely smoked by Undisputed. Undisputed almost put up 200 last week. 197. So you did put up 200. So Undisputed is sitting at 2-2. IBAC, he's sitting at 3-1. Dre's sitting at 1-3. I'm 1-3. Bosch, the only remaining undefeated guy in the league at 4-0. He snuck out of there with a victory last week, Bosch. You did. I thought I was getting my first win last week, but he did get the win over me. Oh, what was that last week? Yeah, that was last week. He got the win. To remain undefeated, he's 4-0. Then you had Les beating Drex to go to 3-1, and Drex is 1-3. And then you got Frost, who squeaked by Ray for a 3-1 victory. Now Ray is the only team that doesn't have a win. I'm no longer there with Ray. Ray's out there by himself. Some matchups for this week. You got BK versus AC, Les versus Undisputed, Ray versus Andre. So either Andre's going to get his second win or Ray's going to get his first win. I play Drex and Baj plays Frost. So 4-0 versus 3-1. That should be a good one. Yeah, fantasy hasn't been great to me. I had a good week 1 and 2 in DraftKings, and the last 2 weeks I haven't done that great. I enjoy gambling. I enjoy playing the props and games and stuff like that. I do like the daily fantasy a lot. I post a link in there. I would like more people to jump in and join and play. It's $10 to play. Top 2 people take home, prizes or money, whatever case. I said prizes. Top 2 people take home money, and it's fun. You pick out your roster for that Sunday, and it can be whatever player you want. You got your salary cap, and you just pick out your team. $10 to join. It's average like $90 for the top for first place, usually about $30-$40 for second place, depending on how many people get. The more people that get in there, the bigger the prizes are, the bigger the pot is. So check it out, man. I'll post the link again down in the DraftKings section of our server, and let's do it. Fantasy week 5 has been fun. This is our first year doing fantasy football in the league. We got 10 players to join. I'm hoping next season we'll get a couple more people to join, and when they see how much fun we had with this one, and again, it just brings more to the league. Something else to talk about within the league, and now it's become a weekly part of our show. I think the in season Hard Knocks is gonna be kicking off, so we'll bring that back around and start getting into that and stuff. So a lot more to talk about this week. I just wanted to get on here, show our faces, and show us that we're still here, man. We're gonna do this thing every single week. You know, like I said, AC couldn't make it. You know, our guest folded on us this week. Well, so hopefully we'll have a guest next week for you guys. And like I said, we'll be back, man. We're gonna keep this thing going. The people that show up every week and support and get in the comments and talk and are live with me, I definitely appreciate y'all. It's fun, man. I like to have a good time. I'm not really asking for a lot of your time, 35, 45 minutes, and we're out of here. You know, so parting shots for me for this weekend is I hope everybody loses and allow me to get into the playoffs. I do hope that. I got Cooley later on. Hopefully he comes out and plays his worst game of the season again, so I can take care of what I got to take care of. And congratulations to Smitty. He did just lock up his playoff spot. So salute to him. And other than that, man, shout out to Leather Helmet. Shout out to the users. Keep the trash talk going. You know what I'm saying? Even when it feels like it's heated, it's never that serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as you guys aren't disrespecting each other in the chat, I don't really get into it. Even when y'all disrespecting yourselves and disrespecting each other in the chat, you know, I really kind of stay out of it, really. Because again, we're all adults and, you know, we should be able to have fun. I'm not trying to play you know, micromanaging the server. So, you know, have fun, talk trash, and enjoy the game, man. We were picking on Bodge last night because his team is ass, but they came out with the win. So egg on our face. And Jacob's team is the worst team now. So yeah, man, it's fun, man. It's good stuff. That's all I got, man. I'm not gonna hold you guys too long. I wanted to get in here. I wanted to get some topics going. I wanted to say my piece, have a little fun, drink my drink, you know, and lock in another episode. So again, I appreciate you guys. Watch some of these games, tune in, support, show love. We got the broadcast, you know, going. We'll be calling our own games. You know, because sometimes when you want something done, sometimes you got to do it yourself. So that's what we doing, and we at it. And with that being said, man, I'm gonna holler at y'all. Y'all be easy. AC, man, shout out to you, bro. And hopefully we get you back next week, man. One love, peace.